Today, we are looking at AI tools for educators, and what makes this session more engaging is that we're going to have a breakout. We're going to have a breakout session. I think I should have shown us how to engage in the breakout, but let's see how it's going to go. All right. So we're going to continue, and today we're looking at AI tools for educators. That is the essence of why we're having the training, how or what AI tools we would be using as educators, as stakeholders in the education field that we are in. What are the AI tools that would be necessary or be useful to us, right? And yeah, how we can get to use those tools to make our life, our work easier, especially for tasks that have repetitive functions or repetitive nature. Uh, how can we better, delegate our tasks to AI tools that will make it more efficient, more error-free, and more time-saving? So moving on, by the end, we're going to take a look at what we've learned so far. Last week, we talked about what AI is and what AI is not. Then we looked at the difference between AI and the traditional ICT tools, right? We took a look at that last week, Friday, and that was taken by Mr. Patrick. And then we also took a look at the application and of the ethical considerations of AI in education. What are those ethics we have to have in mind when using these tools so that we do not, abuse its use or abuse it for whatever we are meant to do. Moving on, we're taking a look at the learning objectives. For today's class, we have some objectives that I would like to share. By the end of the module, we should all be able to explain how advancements in AI have influenced traditional educational practices over time. We want to explain how, let me take it again from the top. We want to explain how advancements in AI have influenced educational practices over time. And then the second part is that we're going to develop strategies for selecting and implementing appropriate AI tools for what they are supposed to be, or for what they are meant to be used for. So it's important that we know that. We're also going to explore ways to integrate AI into lesson planning, assessment, and classroom management. In fact, we have some of the tools we're going to be taking a look at some of those tools that would help us with lesson planning, assessment, and classroom management, which are one of the key areas in the whole pedagogical setup. Are we following? Just give me a thumbs up or use any emoji you so fit. All right, so moving on. AI in education. AI in education or AI in pedagogy. So looking at AI in education, module 2.1, we ask ourselves a very, very important question. Will AI eventually replace teachers? Would AI replace teachers? True or false? Who wants to help me with that? Who has got an idea or has a thought to this question? AI will eventually replace teachers. True or false? We can share in the comments as well. Would AI replace teachers? I'm in the comment section and I'm taking a look at what we are doing. So can we share in the chat? Can we share in the chat? Yes, don't just tell me no. Give me your reason. Why do you think no? AI will not replace teachers. Okay. What else? Who else has thoughts around that line? No. Okay, everyone is saying no, but you're not giving me a reason. Why do you think so? Why do you think not? No, it can't. Why? All right, but I love our responses. They are really, really, intriguing and they tailor to what we're talking about. Beautiful. Thank you so much. If you've got more comments, you can send them in, but I'm going to move on now. Thank you very much for your inputs. They are very intelligible and it means that we have an idea to what it is. All right, so another question. Teachers who use AI will eventually replace teachers who don't. True or false? Teachers who use AI will eventually replace teachers who don't. Is that true or is that false? No, because AI is okay. Okay, thank you. So moving on. So I love our answers, and as we go on, we would definitely get to pick and see whether the part you fall into or the side you chose agrees with the content of or the truth of what the whole matter is. I might not be able to see your responses anymore. All right, so moving on, let's start with the introduction. So now we need to first of all understand the idea that AI is no longer a futuristic concept. You know, you might have said that maybe 5 years ago, particularly Nigeria, because other developed countries have gone ahead of us in those areas of advanced technology and all of those things. But we have been seeing trickles of it even years back. And so we should no longer have that idea that AI is futuristic, that it's coming. In fact, when I make posts on LinkedIn, I don't talk about the future of education anymore. I talk about the now of education because everything we've been talking about in the futuristic manner is now with us. It's now like by our side, like it's literally at our fingertips. So it's a present day reality and it's something that is currently transforming education. So for a person, it could be relative. A person might say it's coming because he or she has not gotten exposed to it yet. And I'm not disputing the fact that it's possible that there are some certain places where we may not get to see AI in full development or adoption, but then it's no longer a futuristic thing. The fact that it's happening around means that it's already in existence. So while AI cannot replace teachers, yes, AI cannot replace teachers. It helps by automating repetitive tasks, right? Things that you would want to do that you do on a daily basis. All of those your administrative tasks you do, marking, grading, evaluating, all of those things you do as teachers. It helps you with those we call them routine tasks, repetitive tasks. So just like many of us agreed or stated, AI cannot replace teachers, especially because of the emotional intelligence needed in the classroom. We're not working with computers. We're not working with systems. We're working with human beings, right? So there's still the need for that human touch. There's still the need for that human connection, like someone rightly said. There's still the need for that interaction between the children and or the learners and the teacher. However, there are some schools now that they do not have full human contact or connection with the students. So what the students have is that they have some level of connection with AI, and then there is also the part where they have to connect with their teachers, who are sources of encouragement, support, emotional support, and guide. We call this ones guide. They are what we call guides by the side. So AI has moved the function of an educator from being the sage on the stage to being the guide on the side. So you have a lot of understanding as to what exactly it is encapsulated as your function now. So moving on, yeah. So the evolution of AI and its impact on education. What is the evolution of AI? How has it changed? How have we moved from what it was back then or what it is now, for what it was back then to what it is now? Because let me let you know that every day or constantly there are a lot there. We have lots and lots of, improvements going on. Every day data is being fed into an AI system. Every day they learn new things, right? And it makes it better. And that's why you get to see newer versions of AI software, newer versions of products from AI, and all of these things. They they are not at a state of obsolescence. That is, they are not at any point obsolete in what they know or what they have. So the makers of whatever version of AI you see today take it upon themselves to make it better, make it learn more data, As more data come out, as more information unfolds by the day, there tends to be a feeding of such data into the systems. So the integration of AI into education has followed a steady progression, right? Evolving from simple automation tools. When I mean automation tools, tools that are able to do things, auto means self. They're able to do things by themselves with little or no assistance by the humans. So to complex generative AI. So they move from simple automation tools to complex generative AI models that are capable of creating interactive learning experiences. Many of these things, many of these AI tools are not just in the simple format anymore, in the simple versions. They have evolved, they have been advanced to have self-generative features, self-generative capabilities. That is, in as much as they're going to receive prompts from human beings or inlets from here or there, you have the ability to create thoughts. They create opinions, they give opinions, which can be tested to a level of truth or level of validation, right? And they are capable of creating interactive learning experiences. Yes, they have that ability to create interactive learning experiences. That is, we can have AI tools now where you have a bot or a face or something like something like a bot or just something like a human interface or a human figure communicating to whoever the human is and saying certain things. So let's assume that you have an AI tool that monitors quizzes as an invigilator, and so he watches you and sees that, okay, depending on the level of advancement, you could monitor and get to know that, okay, as long as you are looking at the screen, you are definitely or most likely not cheating, right? So, and if anything happens, he might begin to give feedback like, do you have any challenge? What do you want to go get, or something like that? And when he begins to monitor those facial reactions you have while monitoring your progress on the exam, right? It can give you give you feedback, an interactive feedback that, this is what you're doing, this is what you're not supposed to do, and all of those things. And so it started from the 1960s, where we had Plateau systems, which introduced computer lessons, computer-based teaching sessions, right? And then when we moved over to the late 20th centuries to the early 21st centuries, that's from 1990 to the 2000s, the machine learning, we had machine learning being equipped with an adaptive learning system, that helps you to to um to adapt to whatever to what's the word I'm going to use, to fit into whatever changes are occurring within that particular time. We've called it adaptive learning. So all of those things, for example, the person could be taking a quiz, for instance, and if along the progression of that quiz, we see that the person is failing a particular question, an adaptive learning system, we want to tailor it down and make it easier so the person can, function in that particular way, right? Function that area. So if we see that a person is taking a quiz and the person has been acing it all along, it can decide to upgrade it and try to say, okay, as smart as this person is, can he take this higher level test or attempt this high level question? And those are that's what adaptive learning system entail. Then it went further from the 2010s down to the present, what we have today. We had features of deep learning and NLPs, natural language processing, where AI systems can literally detect things. They can communicate. They can pick voices. They can listen to human communication, process what has been communicated, and then listen to such speech or whatever has been said and process it. When they process the natural language, they are able to give feedback, real feedback that is sensible, feedback that is sense making. So it's not like they're going to give you something different from what it was supposed to be. And then Still moving on to the present, in the 2020s, we had things, the generative AI coming out in full force. Then how that changed education, content creation totally. How teachers can now, just create a prompt and they can now form something sensible. If they need a picture, they can create a picture that is important, that is needed for what they need for, that is needed for a particular task. And also they can come up with things, content. For example, if you want to prepare for graduation ceremony, for instance, I know a school that they had a graduation ceremony and they needed to create a poem relating to, I think it was Nigerian heroes. And so instead of the teachers, which may not be poets, they just banked on AI, and AI generated a whole content on poems related to Nigerian heroes. And that was time saving. In something that would have taken maybe weeks or a deeper level of creativity, human creativity, AI was able to work on what he had with his knowledge of Nigerian leaders, with his knowledge of poetry, blending it together and giving it a very good, generating a very profound result. So those are areas where AI has impacted education. And those are just few because it's a whole lot. It's actually a whole lot. When we talk about grading systems, automatically giving feedback from whatever has been graded, and creating suggestions as well, helping us to give intelligible suggestions as to how they can help students become better. These AI systems are far in enabling this. Right. So moving on, how as AI continuing, we're still continuing in the impact of AI in teaching and learning or overall pedagogy, personalized learning. Like someone was saying, AI cannot have individual differences or differentiated learning. AI can actually help you with personalized learning because in the world we have today, right? Not everyone can learn at the same pace. Not everyone can move at the same pace, and children have different needs. In as much as we have the visual learners, the auditory learners, we have the kinesthetic learners, it's important that we understand that, okay, how can AI help us to personalize learning for every child? They come with different emotional backgrounds. They come from different social backgrounds. They come from different, they are at different levels. When we talk about intelligent quotient, they are different levels. Not all learners are smart as they should be. And they have their strengths, their different strengths and their weaknesses. So AI comes in to help personalize their learning. And so if you are able to communicate the strengths and weakness, for example, I was training in school and I told them that we're, I think if we can, think we have to. We're looking at a particular AI tool and how that AI tool would require your as a teacher. That's why the human touch or the human connection or the teacher touch is very important, right? It's important that the teacher is there because AI cannot study your children or your learners. So that AI tool required the teacher to impute the child's strength and the child's weaknesses in different subjects. So with that, the AI tool now to generate what you call your end of term reports. When you are doing your report card, there's the end of term report, and that end of term report gives the parents an idea of how the child has been progressing in your progress report, right? So that particular AI, we analyzed two, Magic School and one other one, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and we got to see it. So AI tailors instruction. It lets you as a teacher know how you can tailor instruction to meet the individual student needs and helps you to analyze their progress. If you give them, if you send out we have three types of assessments or evaluation. We've got the formative assessment, we've got the summative assessment, we have the diagnostic assessment. So if, for example, you've given a diagnostic assessment to understand where the child is at that point, right? It gives you an idea as to what the child know and what doesn't know. And then as you continue the teaching or progress in teaching, you initiate a formative assessment that is helping them to progressively learn, helping them to progressively know. The word is evaluate and monitor what they have learned in time. It's different from the summative, which is like examination or midterm test or cycle test. All of those things are helpful in personalizing the learning of those of your students. And we have example Google's Classroom Adaptive Learning and Khan's Academy AI Tutor. If you're familiar with Khan Academy's AI Tutor, the Khan Academy's AI Tutor observes what the learner knows and then begins to make a progressive development as you begin to compound information or knowledge. You understand? It's compounded based on how the system has understood the child's potential. You understand? So, for instance, if we start teaching a child algebra and we see that the child is still finding it hard to do things like simplification, Khan Academy's AI tutor would try to ensure that it has been solidified before compounding more information. Then Google Classroom's adaptive learning makes it easier for the content within that particular. If you know when you if you use Google Classroom, the education mode, the education mode itself, the one that has been paid for the whole school, and you require it to create content on assessment, it makes the assessment adaptive for each learner. That is, as they come into one question, and these are assessments that are not even created by the teachers, right? What happens is that you want to quiz them on a particular topic. We start with a simple question. We continue with the simple question. As the AI begins to see the responses from the students, begins to it begins to create questions that fits the progress of the child or the understanding of the child, right? Then we have time saving for educators. I've said already, it helps you to cover all of the repetitive tasks and routine tasks, things like lesson planning, grading, classroom management, what do we call those things again? What's the other one? Report generation and all of those things. And then it gives you, the third one says data-driven insights. When you give a quiz, for example, if you use something like Kahoot now or Formative, there's an app we call Formative. When you've created a quiz on Kahoot or Formative, what it does is that it analyzes the result of the student, right? And after it analyzes the result of the student, what it does is that it gives you an idea of what the children, what questions or what topics within that question the child is able to understand, right? It tells you that, okay, Ed does not understand ratio yet. He also doesn't, he finds he has a bit of challenge with a particular subtopic in a particular topic. So, for example, if you tell them, let's say algebra, he finds it hard to, collect like terms or something, or he finds it hard to, solve inequalities, something like that. Maybe it's maths, right? And all of those things help you to know how can that now move you back to personalized learning. How can I help Ahmed better understand algebra? Because now it's not that it's different from when you're just grading an exam. You just mark and get the general score. But what AI does is that it takes you back and says, okay, out of all of these questions you said from like 5 topics, this child doesn't understand 2 of the topic. He has good understanding in the third one, but the other, he has excellent understanding. And so that helps you as a teacher to know, should I retake the class? Should I give it a different strategy? And all of those things. So those data-driven insights help you to analyze the student performance and identify their strengths, or better still, identify the strengths and weaknesses and build on it so that they can become better, right, students in your class. Right, so it refines your strategies, all of those things as well. So Google Classroom Analytical Dashboard does that. Edmodo is an LMS. And what Edmodo does is that LMS gives you good analytics. In fact, the analytics comes in pie charts, in graphs, in bar charts, all of those things. So it makes it easier at a glance. It makes it easier to analyze at a glance. Then it gives enhanced accessibility and inclusion. Right? Now, when I talk about inclusion, we're talking about the differently abled students. How can we ensure that we have a classroom that is inclusive? You understand? If you are in a school whereby you are what we call an inclusive school, where we have maybe the blind together with the visually impaired together with the visually abled, or the hearing impaired with those who can hear. How can AI help you to make it, we don't want to segregate these guys. We don't want to, necessarily have to give them a different curriculum or a different teacher. Or so we want them to strive, because when they go out there in the world, no one is going to give them a different office. We're not going to have a Central Bank of Nigeria for the blind. We're not going to have Access Bank for the blind. No, we're going to have them working together with even individuals that are physically able in whatever capacity or sense, right? So how do you enhance accessibility and inclusion for these differently abled learners, right? That is what AI helps you do. We have things like text to speech or speech to text. So back then when I was in secondary school, because I went to an inclusive school, we had a software called JAWS. What JAWS does is a software when it's installed in a computer, and what it does is that it helps them know, even in phones too, it helps them know what exactly they are typing in, right? What exactly they are doing. So if, for example, if they type K on the keypad, it tells them K. If they scroll to the home page, it tells them there's a way it's like it communicates with them. That's for the blind, actually, or for the visually impaired. It lets them know that, okay, this is where you are on your device. This is what you just did. This is the action you're currently taking. You understand? But now, how is it? How are we able to do that for them? So we have what we call text to speech, right? So if they, in fact, I did a work. I did a work with the USAID, and we had what we call magic pens. I think that was 5 years ago. We had what we call magic pens. The magic pens are like they're like something like it's sort of marker. They just pass it over a on a straight line, pass it over a smart book, and as it passes over the book, the pen begins to read out whatever is being coming in contact with. And that was a simple way to help. It's not even for the blind, actually, or the visually impaired. It helped with those who had challenges with reading. So when it goes over, when you pass it over a word, it reads the word out loud, what we call read aloud technology. It reads it out loud and let them know that, okay, this is what this says, right, for the visually impaired, right, and even for those who can see but cannot read. So that's how it does it. So with the AI, with the function coming in form of text to speech, speech to text, speech to text is for um is for um is for those that are hearing impaired. The computer listens to the communication and then changes it to text. That's what we see in things like our captions on YouTube, our captions on Google Meet. In fact, I think it should be enabled. That is one of the things that that's one of the things that helps them. Like, for example, our Google Meet has a feature that enables captioning. So whatever is being said, if a person on this call cannot hear, he would be able to read with some level of precision what the person is saying, right? And that's what helps these guys, the visually impaired, the hearing impaired, to become inclusive, to be included in the whole learning process, at least to a good degree, right? So Google Live Transcribe for hearing impaired students, Google Translate for non-native speakers. We have captioning on YouTube. All of those things, they are there to help ease the situation. Now, how can we identify or what are those AI tools that we know that are relevant to teaching and learning, or that are relevant to pedagogy on the whole? Now, there are many AI tools available. In fact, I made a LinkedIn post. I said we have many AI tools, and many of them seem to address a particular situation with a little bit of differences. For example, let me talk about, there's an AI we call Corey AI, and Corey AI and Canva lesson planner. There's a lesson planner now on Canva that we use for graphic designs and all of those things. There's a lesson planner on that. Now, each of these features functions, from each of these features function to help the teachers create lesson planning, help the teacher with lesson planning, lesson note creation, and to an extent, evaluation from those lesson notes. However, there could be a little bit of tweak. In Corey AI would provide you with will tailor your notes based on your curriculum. Canva AI might not do that, right? Now, Corey AI, on the other hand, now Canva AI on the other hand, might be able to generate pictures and text for you. Might be able to generate pictures and text. Would create pictures, would generate pictures that might suit your lesson planning. But Corey AI might not do that. Corey AI will just give you, it's just text based, generative text, right? Corey AI can generate text and can generate images as well. Maybe videos, I'm not sure, but I'm sure of pictures. And so you see that there are those pros and cons to using each of it. So sometimes you might want to embed it. You might want to use this for this and this for this. Depends on on your function or what you desire, right? Good. So let's take a look at some of these things. Now look at Google Gemini. Google, it comes with Google, like how we have uh, Meta associated with Facebook, Instagram, and all those things. We have Google Gemini. So it's an AI-driven chatbot for brainstorming lesson plans. You can use it. It's not mainly for this, but it can be used for generating of the brainstorming lesson plans, summing up content, answering in-class questions, right? And a whole lot. So sometimes what teachers even are encouraged to do now is that have Google Gemini on standby, so that sometimes a child might just ask a question and say, okay, Mr. This, what exactly is this? And you're no more the sage on the stage, you're no more the owner of the whole, you're no more the owner of the whole, you no longer have you're no more in the almighty of all knowledge. So now knowledge is everywhere. So you might not have all of the answers. So as a teacher, as a wise teacher that you are, you might want to delegate or relegate that answer to Google Gemini. It will not provide you a better answer. Now look at an example. An history teacher can ask Gemini, summarize the cause and effect of the Industrial Revolution in 200 words, right? But yeah, this is a good example. But we could also ask, children can be very inquisitive, and some of those questions can hit us as teachers at a very, very unprecedented way. So don't feel ashamed to always redirect questions that you're not really sure about to Gemini. In fact, it makes you more proficient or more competent, because those are one of the AI competence. Those are one of the AI competencies that the UNESCO has even asked, has even suggested. So we could ask it. In fact, things relating to science, things relating to any subject, you can just have it on standby on your phone, and it's something that it's voiced. You don't have to. I think there's a call prompt for it. You don't have to go to the phone to type it out. So what some teachers even do now is that they connect their phone to a speaker, and then when they give the prompt to the Gemini responds, right, and gives the feedback to them. And just the same way you can ask your phone and say, hey Google, when you say hey Google to your phone, and then it pops up and does something, waiting for you to ask it a question. That's the same way it works. So we have Google AI Studio. It's a web-based tool, right, that allows developers to build, test, and deploy AI models, particularly focused on generative AI application, right? Generative AI application. So teachers can actually create AI-powered interactive chatbots, right? You can create an AI-powered chatbot that can stimulate historical figures, allowing students that, when we say stimulate historical, you are creating a chatbot that is taking position of, let's say Princess Amina of Zaria, for example. So they can now decide to ask Princess Amina of Zaria any question they want about the history. They can say, are you married? All of those questions that they might have in mind that you might not want. And that's one thing about AI in the classroom or AI in teaching, is that you can just stand at the side and let the teacher. I'm not saying you should delegate it totally. Sometimes some of the questions you might need to either guide the students in asking their questions, or guide the responses from the AI itself. So, but however, it's reducing you of some of the tasks you need to do when it comes to teaching, right? So you can create a Queen Amina of Zaria chatbot, and they can ask Queen Amina anything they want. Maybe you have your class, you're in a secondary school, you have your class on a WhatsApp group page or on a Telegram group page, or a Google Classroom where they can all chat freely. You can integrate the chatbot into the Google Classroom on the WhatsApp, and then let them just, in fact, it's better. Instead of them watching movies, they can just, it sparks that interest in learning a lot. They can ask the most, no question is really stupid, but then they can ask any question, and it builds their knowledge because they are actually learning in what, as seeming irrelevant as it is, they are actually learning. Then we have the Notebook LM. The Notebook Learning is the AI-powered research assistant that helps teachers organize and summarize notes. So a teacher can upload multiple research articles. It helps to organize and summarize the notes. So it's that a teacher can upload a multiple research article. For example, it could be something on economics or something on what was that topic in art again? I think it's history. You could upload a lot of articles from history and just ask it to summarize the notes. So I could create a concise content. It could create concise content, something specific and concise that can be easily absorbed by the students. Yeah, so let's look at these tools. ChatGPT can function as an AI chat assistant. So ChatGPT is an AI chat assistant. It helps to brainstorm ideas, right? Then we have Grammarly. It's an AI-based writing assistant. Yes, it helps people to write, to make sure their writings are correct and good. So it helps them to write, make it improve on their grammar or on their creative writing, right? And makes it more clear or clearer and well structured. All of their essays will be well structured. Then we have Turnitin or GPT-0. Turnitin is something that helps us to ensure that what the students are writing it helps to ensure originality of content, because some students might create an essay for you as an English teacher and the whole content is from AI. So how are you sure that this the student has said or what the student has created is from him himself and not another child or not from AI, right? That's what Turnitin helps us to do. So GPT-0 helps us to find out if they actually outsource that task or that essay. Then we have apologies. So we've got Quizlet. Quizlet is it's an assessment tool. It could be used as a formative assessment or a summative assessment tool, and is used to create customized study sets for test preparation. It contains things like flashcards, creates flashcards, and creates content relating to, you could tailor the quizzes based on maybe whatever topic it is you are trying to create. And yes, we have Gmind AI. It's also an AI chatbot that creates formal and casual AI-driven conversations for effective teaching and learning, and it's perfect for students and teachers' conversation. Now, what are the ethical considerations in education? What are the ethical considerations for AI in education? The first one is to address the bias. Review all AI content for fairness and accuracy. Because like Mr. Patrick said last week, some AI models are created with a little bit of bias. And so to ensure that those biases do not come up. And then there's what we call hallucinations. Ensure that we don't have hallucinations come. Hallucination is ChatGPT giving you an answer in a way that makes that answer will look correct, but it's actually not correct. So address bias and review all AI content for fairness and accuracy to prevent biased outcome. So it's not maybe being tailored towards a gender or a race or a particular group of people in whatever format it is, right? Then always ensure privacy, that the data you are feeding, that there is always a compliance with data protection regulations for a country, for a state, for whatever it is, whatever demography, whatever geopolitical allocation or location it's going to be. Ensure that those tools comply with the data protection regulations for that particular place. You cannot afford to just, use anything or just go with anything. Then encourage critical thinking. Don't just have your students just taking garbage in, just taking don't just train them to depend totally on it. Let them think. AI can also help you with questions that help your children think. Because even with this AI, you still need to encourage them to think for themselves, and that would help. That can One way that you can do that is to utilize query method, what we call inquiry-based method of teaching, the inquiry-based IBL, inquiry-based method. Always ask them questions. Get to know what they know. They know what AI knows. Get to know what your students knows before they begin to feed off from the knowledge given by AI, right? Now let's look at evaluation of AI tools for education. That's the module 2.2. What are the guidelines for effective AI use? What do we follow as a guardian? As a guideline for effective AI use. The first thing is to understand the purpose for that AI tool. Why are you using it? What function do you require of it? Why do you need it? Are you using it for what it is meant to be used for? That's number two. Compliance. Reaffirm adherence to what? To existing regulations and policies. We ensure, and many of these tools, they come with the thing. Many of us might not have that time to go through the agreements, understand the policies that are embedded in the use of these tools. It's important that you understand it so that you don't get to fall short of these regulations, of the compliances to these regulations. If the owners, or let's say the founders, find out that we have a misuse of those AI tools in a given location or a given locale, then there might be a restriction to use or a total ban. So that's important. Purpose, compliance, knowledge. Promote AI literacy. Ensure that whatever tool you're using is there to promote the AI literacy and is not just there to help you within the rush of the moment, right? Then there should be enough balance. That is why we said that AI cannot totally wipe off teachers, right? At least there will be once every class. If there were two before, there might likely be one, because what the second one would have been doing would help in that second task. But then there needs to be a balance to why you are to the use of that AI. Sorry, the balance to the human connection, the human part of it, the human touch, and the AI itself. Then also to realize the benefits of AI and address the risk. The balance is that another perspective to this is that not all AI, right? Not all AI has the benefits you are looking for. So try to understand what the risks are in using a particular AI tool and what the benefits are. When you measure it and you see that the benefits outweighs the risks, you can go ahead with it. But if the risks outweigh the benefits, tend to just walk away. Then integrity. Always advance academic integrity. We do not want that because of the advent of AI, we are breeding dummies in our classrooms or students that can't think for themselves. We don't want that. We don't want overly dependent students that are overly dependent on AI. We want them to be able to think for themselves. We want them to be able to go through thought processes. We don't want to build dummies. We are not producing dummies in the classroom. We're not producing students that can't do this, that are always depending on AI, that always depend on chatbots and all of those things. In as much as they're learning, let them be able to, because that's the thing about the mind. The mind can be expanded, and the mind can also be deadened. Yeah. Then the agency, maintain human decision making when using AI. Always let there be the human input, because there could be hallucinations, there could be biases. But when the human looks at it and says, or when the teacher looks at it and says, no, this shouldn't be. Yes, it might be 90% correct, but there's a 10% deficiency in this aspect. That's where you come in to ensure that, if AI comes with 80% accuracy, the 20% accuracy should be covered by you as a teacher, right? Good. And then evaluation, regularly assess the impact of AI on your students and on your classroom. Regularly assess the impact of it. Are you seeing that your students are now more dependent on it, or are you seeing that it's making your work more efficient, right? Is it promoting for progress, right? And then what are the criteria for evaluating AI tools? We've got 5 criteria. The first one is the pedagogical value. what pedagogical value does the AI bring? What are we're looking at criteria now. What pedagogical value does this AI tool provide to you as a teacher? Does it enhance student engagement? Does it reduce teacher task load? Does it enhance critical thinking, reasoning levels? All of those things are very important. And then we've got the user friendliness. Is this AI tool user friendly, especially for your learners? Your learner. As a teacher, it might be easier for you to use, but it might not be user friendly for your learners. Except maybe you take out time to drill them through its use. It might not be, but then it should be something. And those are the things that the UI UX designers tend to work on. They ensure that it's user friendly, but then they might not be total in their work. It might not be 100% in what they do. So it's important that you yourself give go to check it out and see that this fits what my learners can do. Then we've got reliability. Does this AI tool always give a what we call a given level of error? Is there a percentage of error that is very risky or that is very risky? So you should ensure that that AI tool delivers accurate information. There should be no hallucinations. Remember, we said hallucinations are answers provided by AI or any AI model that looks like the answer, but it's not the answer, just looking close to the answer. So, for example, if you ask an AI tool, when did Queen Elizabeth die? Let's assume that Queen Elizabeth died in 2010. I can't remember the year. It just says in the early 21st century. That is not specific, and even if it gives you specific, it might another form of hallucination is that some answers might be correct, but other answers will be wrong. So it's like it's brandishing and mixing the wrong with the right. So you might not know the wrong ones might not be known to you because you don't have all the knowledge. But when you see the right ones, that sparks you and makes you think that, oh, this is correct, this is the right one, right? Then customizability. Let that AI tool be customizable. Let it be adaptable to student needs, even teacher needs itself. Let it be adaptable. Ensure that that AI tool you're using is something that adapts to whatever you have for your children or for yourself. And then ethical design. Ensure it's privacy compliant. It has regulations related to data protection because every interaction you make or you have with that AI tool, you are feeding it with data from yourself, right? When you say something to it, it learns from every interaction it has with you. And when it learns from that interaction, your data or whatever you have inputted into it might not be safe. So ensure that it has regulations related to data protection and privacy protection as well. All right, moving on. Activity. All right, so let's take a look at. We're going to take a look at one of the AI tools. I had quite a number in mind, but I think are we all familiar with Corey AI? It's a lesson planning tool. Please, if you are or if you are not, just in the chat box, just let me know. Yes, I'm going to share my screen. So Corey AI is actually an AI tool that supports lesson creation, lesson plan creation, lesson note creation, and assessment as well. And it's actually a Nigerian-based AI tool. For Corey AI, you have it for the whole school. You can have it as an individual teacher, or you can build an account for the whole school. The whole school obviously comes to this because you're working, you're paying. It's free actually. For the first, you sign up for free. You can use the features freely, but at some point, the free coins given to you would need to be reimbursed, and that reimbursement can come with something as low as 100 naira, 200 naira, and none of those things. But it's tailored and none of those things. So now I'm on the one for the teachers, right? And look, this is how the interface looks like. This is it. Teacher school. It's something for Nigeria. It's not anything. So you can create lesson plans in minutes. You can generate questions easily. Then yeah, that's all. So let's sign in. I have an account with them, so I'm just going to sign in. So I've done a little bit of test on it, and I'll just work with what I've shown before, what I've done before. So these are some of the things I've tested while working with it. You can create a new note, and as you can see, what kind of mode are you looking at? Is it a form mode or engaging mode? You could put in the curriculum, and you can see we have the Nigerian Educational Research and Development, the NERDC curriculum. We have the UBE, we have the British, we have the International Baccalaureate, and we have the Montessori curriculum. Whatever suits you, whatever it is, you put in the subject, you put in the topic, you put in the class, whatever class it is, honor K, oh sorry, not K, I want to say K, honor the KG1 to 3, nursery 1, whatever it is, year 1 down to, this is up to secondary school, I believe, because year 7, year 8, year 9 is GS, and then 10, 11, 12 is SS. Then you may decide to resource, you may decide to include something that can be an additional resource to what you want to add to it, right? Then you can also add a link to a resource if you want. And once you're done, you create. And when you create, it generates it under seconds. And that's for the notes, right? Now, when you create a note, okay, let me see if I need to move to this, because I'm not seeing a feature that I'm supposed to. Oh, this is actually the one I'm familiar with. Okay, sorry. So this is it, actually. The home is where you see, yeah, it's the dashboard. The home dashboard is where you get to see yeah. Oh, sorry, I kept refreshing it again. So this is the dashboard where you get to see how many lesson plans you've done, how many notes you've created, how many you've shared, how many assessments you've made, right? They're all here. You get to see them here. So I think while testing it, I did like 7, 5, 5, and 4 assessments. I never shared any. So you can start with the lesson plan. You know, that's the beginning of your creation. The lesson plan, you can create something new. When you want to create something new, you start with the subjects, then you tell us the curriculum, like I showed us earlier, the class, and then the duration of your class. The duration can help to make it either lengthier or maybe just shorter. Then the topic, instructional materials, these are optional, but if you put it in, it will give you a better, it will give you not a like it will give you, it's like a best option. It will give you a better because it works with what you've given it and create something that works for you. Then we've got the previous knowledge and then behavioral objectives, and then when you've done that, you generate it using 10 coins. So once you've generated this lesson plan, you can create a note from that lesson plan. When you click on the class notes, right, you can see you can create a new one, or you can create from an existing lesson plan. You can create a new one, or you can create from an existing lesson plan. Creating a new one will take 5 coins off, and lesson plan will take 5 coins off. So the best is to, because you've got the lesson plan, the best is to always create from that lesson plan. So you click on the lesson plan, or if you just want to create a note without a lesson plan, I don't know how that works, but then it's something that is also possible with the app, with the software. And so when you create from the lesson plan, it gives you a selection from all of the lesson plans you've done before, or that you have created in the past, and then you can click on it to create the lesson plan. So don't forget that the link is story.schooler.app, right? Good. And so you can pick from any of this, right? And once you're done, it creates the note. Let me show you the note that was created from this. This is an economics lesson plan on the concept of money. You can see it's instructional materials, whiteboard or projector, marker or pens, picture of visuals or different forms of money, all of those things, previous knowledge. There's objective, there's introduction, all of these things. There's a starter. I think the introduction is like a starter. Then we have the steps, definition of money, origin of money. Let's start from here. Characteristics of money. You can see that this is what you see in a typical economics net. Then we have examples of money and role of the CBN, all of those things, and then evaluation. So if you've got this, you can now what? Use this to create an assessment. I think I did. I should have an assessment. Okay. I think this is economics concept of money. So, and one thing about the one thing about creating assessment is that you can create any format. It could be objectives, it could be theory, it could be objective, it could be theory, it could be fill in the gap. I think we have 3 modes of creating it. Let me show. So they'll ask you here, when you want to create a new one, what's the name of the assessment? What do you want to call the assessment? How many questions do you want the assessment to be? Is it 10, 20? You can put in the number of questions you want. What's the class that's taking this assessment? What's the subject? What's this? Okay, subject. Okay, it's just giving an example. Subject and topic, right? Then look at this format. The format is there. Do you want it to be multiple choice, fill in the blank, or an essay? So it gives you those options. And then once you're done, you just generate. You generate the amount, you create rather, the essay or the assessment you want to create, right? And so with this, once you've created it, you can now copy, you can share it, you can send it to your Google Classroom or to your Microsoft Word. You can convert it to a Word document or a PDF document. Then you can now, go through it. That's the part of the teachers, the human touch. You refine what it has given to you, so that you don't just get any results you want from AI and just push it out to your students. There should be, you may not understand the level of accuracy, or you may not know the level of accuracy it has if you do not share, or if you do not go through it to be sure that really this is what it can do, or this is what it has provided. Do we get it? Do we get it? Guys, do we get it? Do we get it, everybody? Because we're going to discuss about the pros and cons now. All right. I'm seeing the chat now. Yes, it's nice, right? Good. So, but I want us to just talk about the pros and the cons. What do you think? What do you think is limiting? And I think I mentioned one before. What do you think is limiting to what you see? What do you think is limiting to the results from this AI tool? What are the pros? What are the benefits? What are the merits? What are the demerits? What do you think? I'm in the chat box viewing as a teacher, because this is built for you. So what do you think is missing in this? Although not all AI tools may have the same thing, what do you think is missing in this AI tool? What do you think is missing? What are the pros? Or can we state the benefits first of all? I will think about maybe the demerits. Who can help me with the benefits before we talk about the demerits? Please type in the chat so that it's easier for us to see. Okay, it saves time, of course. Thank you, Ibrahim Diabu. Makes it easier for teachers to plan. Exactly. It makes it easier for teachers to plan. Yeah, makes our work easier. Okay. So teacher's task is made easier and it also minimizes time. Good. So instead of you to start gathering like 5 textbooks all together. So I'm looking out for some specific benefits, because I showed us the features and I think that I think it's very accurate. It saves time. It covers a wider range. Okay, the possibility of getting same answer from the student is not verified when it comes to essay. Acquire much knowledge. Ramatu Aminu says acquire more knowledge. Dahiru Lawal Adano says benefits include monitor progress effectively. Okay, I think that's actually a disadvantage because this doesn't give us an analytics. It doesn't give us any data analytics. And Dahiru, it doesn't give us for you as a teacher. It might help you to monitor the children's progress effectively. But if it comes to if it's context of monitoring progress and giving data-driven insights, this doesn't do it. Okay, Hamza is saying that if the students do not have the idea of critical thinking and are familiar with the AI application, the possibility of obtaining same answer is very high. Okay, true. I agree with you. I agree. Just to be affected. Now, creating reliable AI tools. Thank you for your input, everyone. So, content creation, tools that assist in generating AI to have creating reliable AI tools in terms of content creation, assessment tools, class engagement, and administrative assistance. These are the areas that address what the teacher function, that address teacher functions in the classroom. You understand? Creating content. When you say content, we're not talking about social media, we're talking about content relating to pedagogy. We're talking about assessment tools, tools like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Gmind AI, they assist to generating lesson plans. Then AI-driven platforms such as Turnitin help with assessments. When it comes to Turnitin is majorly for, let's say, I mentioned it earlier, essays, to be sure that they are not getting the essays from AI. And then we got classroom engagement. We have tools like Quizlet. Quizlet is an assessment tool as well, just like quizzes and Kahoot, Google Forms, Microsoft Forms. All of them are AI powered. Like for example, I was telling Mr. Patrick that Microsoft Forms now has a way. When you type in the question, let's say it's a math question. When you type in the math question in Microsoft Forms, Microsoft Quizzes, the AI feature of it would suggest the answer. We almost immediately create the options for you and highlight the correct answer, so you don't have to start calculating all of those things. Then we have administrative efficiency like AI Studio, Notion AI, and all of these assist with automating things like email. Now, some schools don't really send emails like that, but we have schools that their communication model is via email, not via call or all of those things, because for record purposes, right? Good. Now, conclusion and assessment. So educators we as educators, we actually need to take the following steps to maintain a resourceful AI collection. Always get feedback from your students and co-workers on the usefulness of AI tools. Keep at the pace of AI development. Don't say don't be limited with whatever is happening around you. As a teacher, it's for you yourself. Make that individual personal development or make that individual professional development to make that advancement. Go with the flow. As AI makes progress, you also make progress with it. Then regularly remove outdated or ineffective AI tool and replace them with improved alternatives so that you're not working with archaic methods. Yeah. Then practical application of AI in education. Automated grading, classroom management, content creation, intelligent tutoring. I'll speak a little bit on intelligent tutoring because one thing about tutoring is that tutoring is focused. It's not like you're addressing the whole class. You are tutoring them to help them become better, maybe in a particular topic or in a particular subject. Especially for students that have come in contact with a particular content before and are not able to grasp it. So as a tutor, you may use AI to further deepen understanding in a particular concept. Then AI-powered tutoring, we have ITS, like AI-powered system like Gemini and chatbots will actually assist you with writing and problem solving, and through its interactive learning module or systems, they actually utilize NLP, they utilize ITS, they utilize NLP and help with deepening understanding, deepening the learning of the students and make them better engaged in whatever content we've created for them. Then adaptive learning, we have Canmigo that provides a personalized tutoring. So the tutoring receives feedback. For example, if a student comes to Canmigo and says, I'm having difficulty in this, the student, in as much as the student is giving feedback, the next reaction is that, okay, can you solve this? student solves it or explains how it's solved, then and you see that okay, you got it. From whatever feedback, from whatever feedback the student gives, it learns from it and knows what to do next. Okay, whether to give it the same thing, same question to see if you can get it, or go straight to teaching it to clarify that area. Or if a student gets that particular question at the first contact, he goes to a deeper one, and if the student doesn't get it, he now clarifies it and okay, explains it and say, okay, this is how it goes. So it's about adaptive learning, just modifying the learning process to suit the ability of the child or the learner. Automated, I've mentioned this. Many quizzes now do automated. So you input the question, you input the options, and then you tick the one that is right, so that when they take the test, they're automatically graded, they get to see their score, they get feedback. Some of them enable feedback. So for example, if a person chooses a wrong option, there's a feedback that shows this is not the right answer, and tells them why this is not the right answer, right? Even if they choose the right answer, it gives them a feedback. Well done. This is the right answer because you did this, right? And none of those things. So the automated grading enables you, instead of you taking, I still saw something on Instagram where a teacher clipped papers to be graded at home. The teacher took it home, did not grade it. In fact, was watching TV, did not do it, brought it back to school ungraded. So, but if these papers are turned to CBTs, it's better and it saves you a lot of time, right? And it's a lot error free, because sometimes you might have a lot of headache. Sometimes you might there are so many factors to those things. Yeah, we've talked about content as well. Administrative automation, attendance tracking, right? Email automation. You don't have to construct all your emails. There's a way that you just tell it what you need it to do, and then it does it. Then you can schedule things like meetings with your parents. If you have parent teachers meeting, it can help you to automatically schedule your calendar and also notify the attendees that this is the time. Then it can also send you reminders that okay, you've got 30 minutes to this meeting time, all of those things. It makes your work a lot easier. Then student progress tracking, I've said that already. I think I mentioned that already. AI enhances education by automating tasks, right? And personalizing learning. It also helps to improve student engagement. And I'm beginning to wonder what exactly would happen if we do not have these AI tools? What exactly will happen if we do not have these things making life for you teachers, you educators, simple or simpler, right? For some of you, your schools might have portals or what we call learning management systems. The portals might have AI embedded into it, where you can do a whole lot of things easier, a whole lot of things easily rather, and it makes you sit back and give more time to things that matter. And when I talk about things that matter, we're talking about emotional support. You mentioned already emotional support, student support, uh, giving them feedback, all of those things, all of those projects hand-based, all of those hand-based, hands-on practicals activities. So it's not just all you have. You get teachers get busy with assessments, creation of lesson plans, and we forget that okay, we really need to have the children engaged with us. We need to we need to interact with them more. We need to have more time for teaching so that they can grasp the whole content. And that is why AI through these tools will be helping us to do that, or are helping us already to do that. So we're going to have a breakout session. I think Mr. Patrick would in the next in the next 30 minutes.
Okay, if while you're, can I respond to one of the questions on the AI test for schools?
All right. Okay, you can go ahead, Doctor.
Okay, so the person is asking, how can we use the research in AI in secondary school village where the students can't have complete knowledge in computer science, the others that don't have handsets and totally can't have computers in their school. So I understand what this question is trying to ask. They are trying to reason the value of this training or this AI for areas there's yes. Thanks for Just noise coming from. Okay. So the question really is talking about okay, all these things. I'm sure while all the training is going on, you're thinking, how is this relevant to schools or children where they don't have ICT and computer? And if you have joined the first class, you would realize that one of the things that we try to make us understand as educators is that AI is everywhere. And we're already using AI in our everyday lives. And I think one of the last slides of the last showed you how AI is being used in all these sectors. And I want us to abuse our minds as educators, especially in these low resource areas, to think that these things are far from us or far from the children that are in our vicinity or in those localities. Because in one way or the other, this particular application or this disruption that is happening with AI will actually reach them. And so there are two sides to this AI literacy. First, for the teachers. So maybe your students don't have access to computer or smartphones now. Doesn't mean that those children in your class will never have access to it in life. And so when they do have access, they are not unaware of what it is, and they're already kind of literate about what AI is. That's for the students. Then for you as the educator, you already have this access, and that's why you are present here this morning. Even though you may have limited access, I know some of you have to go far and wide to find internet connections and all that. But first and foremost, what we are trying to help you know as you go through this course is that it can improve how you engage with these children. So for instance, even in your lesson planning, you can use AI to assist you for activities that are suited for your kind of children, your kind of, you can localize your content, you can localize your activity. And you, in other words, you are using it to improve your engagement with them. You are using it to improve their learning outcomes. So that is the thing about it. When we talked about adaptive learning, adaptability, just even what's on the screen, intelligent tutoring, it can be programmed based on your students. So you can tell AI, I have this lesson. The textbook says this, but can you break it down, localize it, even put your state and your for instance, I think some of these things you'll be doing going forward. Even your state, your maybe farming is what is more prominent in your local government. Use examples of this to reach students of so kind of category. AI will help you develop those kind of contents. So as a teacher, it empowers you. So don't let's look at it as we don't have ICT, we don't have computer. AI is really far beyond ICT. And these children that we are raising, we are praying that one day they also go to work in the banking industry, they go to work in the health industry, they go to work in the different industries out there. AI is already disrupting those industries. So this is one case that we cannot run away from. So we need to embrace it, look at how we can maximize it even with the little resources or infrastructure that we have, but also build our own literacy and help the children that we are also teaching build their literacy so that when they actually have to use these things, they are not at loss for what it is or what is happening in the sectors they find themselves. Thank you.
All right. Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. So that has answered the question. And I also believe in the fact that, I even mentioned it as well. Just your phone and your speaker, and you could get to use all of these Gemini. I give an example of how a teacher even got to use it. You could just hello Google, what is the this of this? And when your phone is connected to the speaker, give you the information audio verbally, right? And your learners are listening to it. That is simple. It doesn't have to be so technical. For the context or for the level at which you are, you may just want to, I'm not saying limit, but just work with what you have. And for every opportunity you have to make a little advancement to it, seize that opportunity. So you don't left lingering or wallowing in the fact that, okay, we don't have this, we don't have that. Just one device is enough to transform the class, is enough to get them knowing about this. So I think it's better that if we expose it to them now, even though we don't have it or they don't have it, than when they are in the future having the get the opportunity to interact with it, and they have no idea at all, no knowledge at all. I believe no knowledge is wasted in that sense. So we're going to enter in the breakout room now. We've been sectioned into the breakout rooms. We have 9 breakout rooms, and we've already been sectioned in. There should be at least 3 participants in each breakout room, right? Yeah. So we have at least 3, and we're going to be exploring ChatGPT. How have we been able to use ChatGPT? I'm sure that we are familiar. Okay, or let's say Meta AI, the simplest of them all, because we have that as simple as it is on our WhatsApp or on our Facebook or on our Instagram, maybe if you are on Instagram or on our WhatsApp. I know. In fact, the painful thing for me is that I just got to have mine after how many years? It just came into me now. But then I want us to talk about it. I want us to discuss how we've been able to use these, something like maybe ChatGPT, and those are going to be the 2 major AI tools we're discussing: Meta AI and ChatGPT. So if some people are not familiar with Meta AI, they should be familiar with ChatGPT, or vice versa. And if you're not of either, then let's listen to those that have something to say and let them share with us their thoughts on how they have been able to maximize, the word is maximize, and utilize these AI tools for their pedagogical functions. So the breakout room is for 15 minutes. Yes, so we can have 5 more minutes to come back. We've got 15 minutes and we are going.